No way. Yo, what's going on YouTube? In today's video, we're going to go over the best AMD graphics settings for max visibility and FPS in the new Call of Duty Season 1 Reloaded. Alright, so first up, we're going to update our Windows, make sure it's up to date with the most current Windows update available. So go to your search bar and type update and go check for updates. When we're in here, make sure that the most up-to-date version is installed. As you can see, it's last checked today at 8 o'clock. I have an update to do, so I'll be installing that update after this video. But make sure your PC is up to date with all current Windows. It is really necessary. So make sure you close that once it's done, and you're good to go with that one. Next, we're going to go to search, and we're going to type game mode. We're going to go game mode settings. In here, we're going to make sure game mode is turned on. Make sure game mode's on for the current season. It is changeable sometimes, depending on the season. Right now, it's still good. Same as last, the first half of the season. Make sure it's turned on. Graphics, related settings, go down to graphics, turn that on. Go change default graphics settings. Make sure it's on your default high performance GPU is on your GPU. Hardware accelerated GPU scheduling is turned on. Variable refresh rate is on. Optimized for Windows is also turned on. Make sure those three are turned on and you're done. Go back and then go down into the search list and find Call of Duty. Make sure you click on it, go options and select high performance on your graphics card. Click save and you're done on that one as well. Next, we're going to go down to our search bar and we're going to type run. Click on run and then we're going to search up temp. Hit OK. And then we're going to select one of them, press Control A or select all of them. And then we're going to press delete and make sure all those are deleted. If you get an error like this where it says, do you want to, it can't be performed, just go skip and skip again. Do it all for current items, skip. Go for current items, skip again until you're done, and then you can close that one, and that's done as well. Next, we're going back to our search bar. We're going to type run again, and we're going to type %, temp, %, and hit OK. And we're going to select all again and delete these ones also. Once again, if you get the message pop up saying it can't be completed, do this for current items, click skip, and we wait for that to finish. All right, once that's done, you can close out of that. Next, we're going to go down to our File Explorer. We're going to go over to Documents. We're going to go down to Call of Duty. We're going to open Players folder. And we're going to open this s.1.0.cod.24. All right, once that's open, we're going to go Control F. And we're going to type thread. You see down here, a thread count for handling the job queue. Now on screen right now, you can see the best number to put in based on your CPU. So make sure you put that number right in here. You change this from whatever it is, put it down there as mine 7 for the 7800 X3D. And then you can go Control S or File Save, and that one's done. And now we're going to get into our in-game settings. So let's get into it. All right, first up, we're going to go to our graphics settings. So for our graphics settings display, full screen borderless is what I use. I use multiple monitors so my cursor can move between it without minimizing the game. So I play on full screen borderless. If you want the least amount of latency in the games for input latency or anything like that, use full screen exclusive. It is a bit better, but honestly, there's not too much difference. Display monitor, make sure your monitor is on your current monitor. Display adapter, which is your GPU, make sure it's on your computer's GPU, not your inbuilt CPU. Graphics, make sure it's on your graphics GPU. Screen refresh rate, make sure it's set to your highest refresh rate. If it's locked, if you're on full screen borderless, go to full screen exclusive. Change refresh rate to your highest. Mine's 240 Hz monitor at 240p. I can change this as well if I need. And then to save this, if you want to go back to borderless, just go back to full screen borderless and it's locked in there. Aspect ratio is set to automatic. Restart your shaders, which you can do. It just restarts your shaders and the % sign up top left of the screen. Display gamma 2.2. Game brightness I have it set to about 55, but adjust this based on your monitor and what's going to work best for you. Eco mode preset set to custom. VSync gameplay we have off. VSync menus off. Custom frame rate, I have this on unlimited, but you can set this to your current monitor's refresh rate. So if you want to set, if I got a 240 Hz monitor, you can set this to 240. So it doesn't go past it. It does apparently reduce screen tearing, but I haven't noticed any problems with it. Reduce menu resolution we have on native. Pause game rendering off. Reduce quality when inactive off. Focus mode on 0. High dynamic range, which is HDR, we have it set to automatic. Over to the quality tab, graphics presets. So when you go to change the graphics settings, this will change from whatever it is in here to a custom. So we're going to start render resolution at 100. This is for the 2560 1440. If this is 4040, you can reduce it down to give you more frames at say like a 1080, for example. Dynamic resolution we have turned off. Upscaling sharpening, we're still using fidelity CAS. Make sure fidelity CAS is selected, and at about 95 I'm using it on currently. AMD FSR 3 frame generation. Now this is a new setting that's come into the game with the mid-season update. Do not use this. Do not use this. I'm telling you right now, this is not a good setting. Yes, it will give you massive FPS boost in the game. It will go from, for myself, from about 260 to 300 up to about 400 plus. But the input latency and lag you get from using it, it's absolutely not worth it. Do not use AMD FSR 3 frame generation. Make sure that's turned off. VRAM scale target, I have it set to 80. This seems to sort of be the best middle ground. I don't get too many crashes or anything like that, so I set it to about 80. Variable rate shading, make sure this is turned on. This is important. This will give you more frames in game. Variable rate shading turned on. Texture resolution, I normally have it on normal. You can turn it on to low if you need to. If you need to turn it on to low. Otherwise, normal is pretty good if you've got a higher end GPU. Low if you've got a lower end GPU. Texture filter and anisotropic, I have this set to high. Depth of field we have off. Detail quality on low. Particle resolution on normal. Bullet impacts we have on. You can turn this on for an extra FPS or two, but I prefer what it does for me visually in the game, so I have this turned on. Persistent effects we have off. Shadow quality we have on high. On demand texture streaming on optimized. Set to 64, which is 64 gigabyte based on how much RAM I have. If you got 32 gig of RAM, set this to 32. Download limits off. And local texture streaming quality we have on low. Shadow and lighting, shadow quality very low. Screen space shadows off. Occlusion and screen space lighting we have off. Screen space reflections we have on normal. Static reflection quality on low. Environment tessellation we have set to all. Volumetric quality on low. Deferred physics quality off as off. Weather grid volume to off. Water quality on off. So those are your quality settings. Let's go over to the view settings. Click to go across, press R1, and then click apply to save those graphic settings. Motion reduction preset, we have that turned off. Now this is good if, you know, it says sets most of our motion accessibility settings to the recommended values to minimize the effect of motion sickness. You can just use these settings I'm about to give you, just turn this off. Field of view, set it to where you want, somewhere between 107 and 120 is the best for aim assist. I've always played 120. Just set it to something and don't change it. Don't go changing it every second game to 110 and then 107 and back to 120. Just set it to something and learn to play on it. I prefer 120 myself. ADS field of view, make sure it is on affected, not independent. Weapon field of view set to wide. Third person field of view set at 90. And vehicle field of view set to wide also. World motion blur, make sure that's turned off. We don't want any of that blur in the game. Turn off world motion blur. Weapon motion blur as off as well. First person camera at least 50%. Third person camera 50%, and third person ADS transition time is third person. Inverted flashbang, I prefer the black screen that comes up when I get hit with a flashbang, so I have this turned on rather than a white one where it just sort of blinds me. I make sure I have this turned on. Over to our audio settings. In our audio settings, game master volume, you're gonna have to play around for yourself, but generally if you're on like a console or a PC, you want to have your gameplay music all the way on 0, dialogue on about 10, effects volume on 100 because this is where footsteps land. Make sure the effects volume is on 100. Cinematic music volume, I have it on 0. I don't want to hear the cinematic music volume at all. Speakers, headphones, I run the Art is War tune. If you don't know what that is, go to Art is War on YouTube. He has a tune if you're on a PC, which will give you amazing footstep sounds. Make sure to go over there, give him a like, give him a follow. He's an absolute goat. Art is War tune. So that's sort of where I set that. If not, it's going to be your headset. Speaker output also probably on Windows default with stereo for you, depending on what's going on there. Enhanced game mode, I don't have this turned. Enhanced headphone mode, sorry, I don't have this turned on. You can turn this on if you're not using the Art is War tune, but because I have it on, I don't use it. Give it a try, see if it sounds any better for footsteps. Audio mix, Treyarch mix seems to work best. Try Sucker Punch as well. It seems to be pretty good for those sort of high footstep audio that you can hear. But once I see, like again, I said Art is War. This is where I set it. It's way better. Mono audio turned off. Mute game we minimize off. Mute licensed music. I have this turned on for myself. I don't want that coming through on my stream. Asymmetrical hearing compensation turned off. And this configure is for the asymmetrical hearing, which we don't play around with. Reduce tonight to sound. Make sure this turned on. It's the sound from the concussion and flash grenades were replaced with more dull and murky sounds. We want to make sure this is turned on. The better that is, the better for us and our ears, I think. The market preset, we just have that set to default, so you can put on classic or none if you want, but default's good for me. Voice chat, my voice chat volume's at 18, whatever works best for your headset. Voice chat on, proximity on, body shield chat on, last words, we want to hear those last words coming out of our enemies. We turn that one on as well. Game chat voice as all lobby. If you're on Steam, put this on friends only, because that's the only way you're going to get more frames on Steam is by putting it friends only. Play on Battle.net, it's just the easiest way. Voice chat is your outputs, so that's going to be your headset generally. Microphone level is how your microphone sounds when you're talking to your teammates in the game, so I set that to that. And that's basically it for the audio. Down to interface. So, and here is a couple of things. I'm not going to go over everything. There's a couple of things that you might want to have on here to help you, especially. So down in telemetry, if you're on a PC, you can put on your FPS counter, server latency, and packet loss. I like to have those on just so I know if, for example, I'm in a game, I'm getting packet loss, 2% or something like that, then I know why it's sort of laggy and jumping around and everything. Server latency, also, if I can tell if I'm in Australian servers or if I'm in American servers, from on 13 ping or from 150 ping, whatever the goal is. And your FPS counter, obviously, you want to see how many FPS you're getting in game. It's pretty handy for if you're on a PC. Over to readability. So in here, we go down to our color customization, and we're going to set our color palette up like so. You can change the colors however you like, but what we really want to do is go down to color filter settings, color filter, set it to filter 2, set the color filter target to both, and world color intensity and interface color intensity, set that to 100 each, and that will give you way brighter and more poppier colors in game. This is really important. This has been used since Warzone 2, I believe, so make sure you have filter 2 on your color filter. Into your gameplay HUD, obviously our minimap, we want to make sure this is square. It is a round. A round is a smaller shape and is less space than a square. So make sure you have this set to square. Crosshairs. If you go down to your crosshairs, you can make sure your crosshair dot's on. Center dot scale, set to larger. Crosshair spread is off. Change your color of your crosshair as well. If you like, you can just select it in here and change whatever color you like and then save that. I currently have it on cyan, or that sort of baby light greenish blue. It seems to work pretty well, and I can see quite good with it on there. Hit marker visuals on, damage space, hit markers on. That's kind of really it for this interface section. But yeah, make sure you change your crosshair if you want, and make sure your minimap is on square. Controller settings. Now this one's interesting. They did change a few things in this controller settings, so we'll go through that quickly. I obviously play on a controller currently. Button layout, I play on tactical. I have the back buttons on the controller. This is just how I've had it always set up playing Call of Duty. So your stick sensitivity, they changed this from a number value from 1 to 20, and they changed it to these fractional 1.4, 1.2. So a 1.4 is roughly a 6. So if you played on 6.6 on the last season, or the start of the season, sorry, make sure you put this on 1.4, and it goes up in increments of 2. So 1.4, 1.6 would be 7, and so on and so forth. So I have it on a 1.4 is 6, and then a 5 is 1.2. That's just how I have it vertical. I don't want to be flicking up and down too much. I prefer it on a 6.5. I always have. Make sure you set it to change however it represents your past sensitivity based on the numbers, based on these new values. So change that one up. Simplified control preset off, low motion strain off, bumper ping off, blah, blah, blah. Control vibration, you don't want that on, you don't want the rumbling going on. Trigger effects, full haptics, off, make sure that's off. Dead zone inputs, all right, this is important. Check your dead zones. I will have a little bit of stick drift. I don't mind a bit of stick drift in my controller because it does sort of help me give that automatic aim assist when I'm sort of going onto a player and trying to shoot at him. It does give you automatic aim assist. Which is kind of helpful. I don't even have to move. My stick doesn't fall me because it's drifting. But for left stick minimum, set this lowest as possible. I have it set to 0, set it between 0 and 3, somewhere between there. 0 is the best. Left stick max, set this at 60. Right stick min, once again, if you get a bit of drift, somewhere between 0 and 3, we have this set to 1. Right stick max, we have this set to 99. And your left and right trigger, you'll notice a big difference. Set these to 0. Aiming, sensitivity multiplier. The only one I changed in here is ADS sensitivity multiplier. I put this to 0.85. Play around with it, see what you like. It is defaulted to 1. 0.85 is kind of where I prefer it. It works well for me. Target aim assist, make sure that's on. And make sure ADS aim assist is on. Go down, one more to your advanced aim settings. We're going to change our ADS sensitivity transition timing. Make sure it's on instant. Aim response curve type, make sure this is set to dynamic. You can try linear, but I prefer dynamic with a slope of 1. It's just my preference. Put it on dynamic, put it on instant, make sure the aim assist and ADS aim assist are both turned on. Movement, we have sprint assist. We have this on tactical sprint assist with a 0 delay. Sprint assist sideways and backwards both turned on. Mental assist we have turned off. Crouch assist turned off. Corner slice, I don't like the new corner slice. We make sure that's turned off. Slide dive behavior, you have this set to either slide only or on hybrid. If you do like to do a little bit of diving, you can dive with buildings and fly a bit quicker. Do have it set to hybrid. Slide only works really well, and it's basically what it's been for the last couple of Warzone. So slide only is pretty good too if you can't quite figure out how to dive properly. Otherwise, set to hybrid and you get to do both. Sprint restore allows to resume sprinting after various actions. I do prefer this. That way I get to sprint after doing various actions. Slide maintains for sprint. I do have this currently on because I do want to keep sliding and then running into my sprint. I don't want it to stop my sprint. So if I'm sprinting and then sliding, it carries on my sprint. So we'll make sure that's turned on. Parachute behavior automatic we have turned off. You can get closer to the ground when this is turned off. Mantles cancel reload. We don't want a mantle canceling our reload, so we turn that off. Advanced settings, tactical sprint activation, single tap run. That's where I have that set to. Sprinting door bash in here, we make sure that's on. We don't want to be trying to open the doors. We make sure sprinting door bash is on. Plunging underwater was also set to free instead of hold to trigger. In combat. All right, so over here, body shield, finishing move, behavior. We have set to prioritize body shield when I'm trying to execute someone, for example. It's kind of funny. I want to pick him up as a body shield, right? Armor plate, apply all. C4 detonation 1 by 1. In your combat advanced settings, go to interact, reload behavior. Prioritize interact. We want prioritize interact in Warzone. If you're playing a Black Ops 6 in multiplayer, you're a prioritize reload. Interact is more to pick up your things rather than like reloading, right? Exactly what I just said. So we make sure we prioritize interact. And if you need, you hold down the square or whatever it is button that you've got for reload. You hold that down to do the reloading game if you're around objects and stuff like that. Depleted ammo weapon switch. I do have this turned on. I prefer that it switches my gun instantly instead of me having to switch it when I run out of bullets. And akimbo behavior, if you're running akimbo, set to independent instead of paired. That way you can shoot the left and the right one however you like instead of both together. Right, so that's basically it for the in-game settings. Now we're going to go over to the AMD Radeon software where we have adjusted a couple of settings here. And we'll also give you some more color settings to make the game pop in color. But yeah, all right, let's jump over to that right now. All right, so here we are in the AMD Radeon software. First thing you want to do is check for updates. Make sure your driver's up to date with the most current update. There was one that came out on the 27th of the 11th, the 24.1.12.1. Make sure it's up to date with that one, so do that first. Next, we're going to our gaming, and we're going to go into Call of Duty, and we're going to go into, so I use the global experience, global game experience because it changes it for every single game. I only play Call of Duty, but you can change these exact same settings right here in Call of Duty. However, I go to global gaming experience. We click on that. So from here, we're going to run through them quickly. A couple of changes I did based on some comments and some sort of research I did. So let's go through it. AMD Super Resolution, we turn that off. Fluid motions, we turn off. Anti-lag, we have that turned on. From what I've seen, this still works really well. Make sure you have anti-lag turned on. Radeon boost off. Radeon chill off. Radeon image sharpening, we've just turned this off based on comments and sort of some research I've done where it doesn't really work on top of what's in game. So we make sure this is turned off now. I don't want it on. I have been using it in every other previous video without any issues or anything. But for now, we're going to turn this off. And move on from there. Video upscale, we've off. Radeon enhanced sync disabled. Rate for vertical refresh rate always off. Frame rate target control disabled. Anti-aliasing, use application settings. Anti-aliasing method, we have this on multi-sampling. And morphological anti-aliasing, we have disabled. And anisotropic filtering, we have enabled, and we have it set to 8 times. I think I had this changed a little bit before, but 8 times seems to work best. Texture filtering quality is set to performance. Surface format optimization set to enabled. Tessellation mode, use application settings. OpenGL triple buffering we have disabled, 10-bit pixel format disabled as well. And you can perform a restart of your shaders if you wish. Right, now we go back into our Call of Duty Warzone gaming after we've done the global gaming experience. And what we're going to do is we're going to change some color settings here. So make sure your display is on your monitor that you are using that's right in front of you and your main monitor. So from here we go AMD FreeSync, we have it AMD optimized scaling mode, global default, integer scaling, global default, launch AMD Affinity, we have that disabled. Custom color we have enabled, and the color temperature control we also have enabled. Color temperature we have it about 65,000, 6500, sorry. Brightness set to 0, so that's the standard. Hue at default, contrast at default, and the big one here is saturation. So this is what will make your colors stand out more in the game. Make sure you increase your saturation based on your monitor's preferences and how it looks to you and how it sort of runs for you and your eyes and your monitor. So I have this set to 115, but you can increase this or decrease this however you like based on how it looks for you. But saturation is what is going to give more colors in game. So do play around with this one. 115 seems to work best for me, and that's what I've been using for a long time. So yeah, have a play around. But this is one of the biggest color settings and visibility settings that will give you more clearer game. So make sure you play around with your saturation. Display color enhancement, global settings, and color deficiency as correction. Right, next we go over to the performance tab. From here, we're going to go into tuning, and what we want to do is we want to make sure that AMD Smart Access Memory is enabled. This will give you more FPS. Now this only works if you have an AMD CPU and an AMD GPU, so make sure, if you can see it there on the screen, that AMD Smart Access Memory is set to enabled. Will give you more FPS in game. All right, guys, that is everything for this video. If you enjoyed today's video, please make sure to like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification to be notified of content uploads and live streams. We'll catch you in the next video.